Okay, so this is going to be the special New Year's Eve broadcast for the evening. I know some of you were expecting to have an interview today. Unfortunately, the guest that I had come on, I'm still going to save it for a surprise who that guest is going to be. We will be doing the interview. Things got, shaken up at the last moment there again. She had some personal things that came up. She wasn't able to make the interview. And that's no big deal. It was job related, so I completely understand on that. Hey, I'm a blue collar guy myself, and the things that have to pay your bills have to come first. Unfortunately, YouTubers like myself and many others out there who are trying to do something are still having to maintain jobs outside of this because these channels haven't grown big enough to feed the family here yet. But that's that's neither here nor there. That's not affecting my passion for doing what I do. Just simply making the case, I hold no, ill will about anything like that because I completely understand. That's why when there's a lot of people I'd like to bring on the show, but unfortunately, it's all about getting our schedules to work in the first place because I'm very sporadic about when I get a chance to get away from things that I'm doing and come in here and make a video. Sometimes it's late at night after I get off work. Sometimes it's early in the morning, sometimes it's noon, but then the only 2 days of the week that I have to play with are Tuesdays and Wednesdays when I am off work and, not working according to my current schedule. And I get the same 2 days off every week unless I request a special day, and that has to be 3 weeks out in advance. Okay, so that's really, my issue, and I know a lot of people tend to be more free on the weekends. So, that being said, we weren't able to get together, but nonetheless, I'm still committed to bringing this person on, letting everyone, hear from them, hear her thoughts on things, and, hopefully we can get her on the program here very soon. But that being said, there was one topic that I had brought up that I wanted us, to kind of go over more or less, and that is the recent bombshell, I guess you could say, that came out by CNN that Joe Biden has floated the idea he would pick a Republican as his vice president. Now he kind of, joked, kind of made the joke there, that, well, I can't really think of a good Republican right off the top of my head, but, nonetheless, the fact he would pick a Republican. Now, am I against the idea of a president picking a VP from another party? No, I'm not, okay? There are some Democrats out there that I think make good sense. There are some Republicans out there that I think, make good sense. Being upset if you went with someone from the other party, that would be like me saying that when Donald Trump won or ran, if he had picked, now I know some of you are going to get touchy about this because you don't like Donald Trump. You would say, well, I would hope she would have said no running with him because of what she ran on. But take all the personal thing, take all the stuff Trump said out of the equation. If Donald Trump had picked Tulsi Gabbard to be his running mate, I wouldn't be complaining about that. If Donald Trump had picked Bernie Sanders to be his running mate, again, you could say both of those people wouldn't have accepted it. That's neither here nor there, okay? But vice versa, if Tulsi Gabbard, for example, picked someone who was very well known to be an anti-war candidate, even though I know she wouldn't do this because of probably age and some other things. But let's say Tulsi Gabbard chose Ron Paul to be her VP pick. I wouldn't complain. Now, I know some people are going to push back at Ron Paul and say, well, economic policy, things like that. But nonetheless, it's the overall message that I'm not opposed to the bipartisan thing. Okay? Technically speaking, if you go back to the founding of the country, presidents never even picked their VP in the first place. It was actually who lost the election to be president. You had the two people running, and the one who won became the president. The runner-up became his vice president. Literally. So that's the way our country started in the first place. And the idea behind it was to try and make the two opposition parties get along with each other. Okay, that was kind of the idea. Now, obviously, that devolved over time. And really, many people would argue we don't even have opposition parties in the United States anymore. Really, we don't. We have two sides of the same coin, basically. One's heads, one's tails, but they're both on the same coin. And that coin being corruption, Wall Street corruption, big pharma corruption, lobbying corruption, military-industrial complex corruption, a big coin of corruption, basically. And they're just two sides of that coin. Okay, more or less have the same things in mind. Now, on a video the other day, I made the case where I said I would rather have Trump over Joe Biden. And I'm not about to say what I'm about to say to attack the guy who commented, because I have no problem with anything he said. But he made the point like, well, that was a weak argument. That's a weak argument. I would rather have Joe Biden because I'm tired of Trump's judges. And a few people commented back. And again, this is not an attack on it. This guy's commented on my videos multiple times. Love this guy. I don't know him. But he's commented on stuff. He seems to like my content. So, hey, man, nothing but love to you, brother. But I'm making this for a bigger point. So I hope if you see this, don't get pissed at me over that. But the point was basically when he brought the judges, so I could agree. Trump may be appointing some judges that you may not agree with, that I may not agree with, okay? That we may not agree with. But Democrats are fast-tracking those judges. This is something that Jimmy Dore's talked about. This is something many people have talked about. They're fast-tracking his judges. They're not standing in a way. They're not trying to oppose him. They're fast-tracking his judges. Okay, so they're not doing anything. Okay, they're not stopping this agenda. Period. Okay? So the problem is, though, when you get somebody like Joe Biden, you're not exactly getting one of these lefties like Bernie or Tulsi that have a lot of the populist ideas and messages that resonate well with the American people. You're not getting that. And you're going to lose some of the populism that Trump ran on and has in some ways kind of fulfilled. You're going to lose it all. Any progress that I would praise Trump on, that I think we may have made as far as China or anything like that, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. And the proof of that is you've got Joe Biden saying that I may pick a Republican as a running mate, that I would consider that. Now, why is that? Simply because Joe Biden is the perfect example of a swamp status quo candidate. And he's the same as a lot of those Republicans. He's nothing but what I've heard YouTubers call Republican light. That's all he is. Okay? So of course he would take one of those. Now, do I expect him to do it? No. I expect him to pick a Democrat. And mainly because he's going to pick one that he thinks is going to keep a lot of the Democrat base to possibly come out and vote for him. There's been that big talk about he could pick Stacey Abrams way back before he even first announced that he was going to run for president. You see what I'm saying? So I fully expect him to pick a Democrat. I think it would be foolish of him strategically to try and pick a Republican running mate. But if he were to pick a Republican running mate, rest assured it would not be a Republican that would actually somewhat be more in line with some people's values, because Joe Biden isn't in line with that. Joe Biden would take us into more conflict without a doubt, okay? So I found that to be very, very ironic in the first place. Now, I want to touch on one more thing before I wrap this video up and go out with the new year and see you guys for the next time in 2020. Touch on one more subject. I briefly touched on it again just the other day. This whole thing that's going on with Jimmy Dore recently and the whole Tim Black issue. So
all right? Because I don't owe David Pakman anything. I don't, damn sure, even though I'm Jimmy's friend, there's no reason for me to lie. I don't owe him a lung. I don't owe him money. So here we go. David Pakman made some statements about Jimmy Dore. I noticed a lot of people making statements about Jimmy Dore. That's how you know you're doing something, Jimmy Dore, when everybody's talking about you. Anyway, so they say that Jimmy Dore is toxic and Jimmy Dore has these litmus tests you know, after he made videos where he was critical of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Andrew Gillum, who I also was critical of. Alexandria Ocasio and Andrew Gillum, I felt that they both were, what the hell are they doing? What are you doing? So anyway, David Pakman put out a video. He said some things, or apparently he was doing a show. A caller called up, and the caller was like asking him a question in real time, what he thought about Jimmy Dore. And David Pakman leaned in. He leaned in and he said some things about Jimmy Dore, basically calling Jimmy Dore a useful idiot. Yeah, which is a nice term for stupid. It's a creative term for stupid. All right, so or dumbass, that fits too. That's what David Pakman called him. So David Pakman, after doing this, and then getting around the internets as things tend to do, he received what is known as backlash. No, not a backrash, not a trash back, not an ash can, not a trash can, but backlash. But he got his ass kicked, and he just, look. Here goes David Pakman talking to his audience after people have unsubscribed from him because they didn't like what he said about Jimmy Dore.
When I get a call that says, David, what do you think about the direction Jimmy Dore has gone in? My alternative, instead of giving you my honest opinion, is to lie and say he's doing great work. Would the audience want me to lie and just say something like that because of tribalism, or so that I don't anger certain people in the audience? I can't imagine that that's what the audience wants. And if the idea is that I need to turn the show not into what I genuinely think, but instead into what the leftist groupthink has determined is better for, quote, the movement.
No, David Pakman, we don't want you to lie. No one wants you to lie. We want you to be yourself. We want you to give your honest thoughts. That's what people want. That's the answer to your question, David Pakman. Do not be a lying scumbag. All right? Be truthful. Be honest. That's what your audience expects from you, or they wouldn't be your fucking audience. That's a stupid question. I don't know why you even asked it.
That is a tribalistic disaster. So assuming you don't want me to lie to you, basically people who cancel because I gave my honest opinion about Jimmy are saying they're canceling because I have the wrong opinion. And I think that that's really dangerous because, as I've said before, no two people are going to agree on everything ever, right? And if independent media is going to survive and thrive, which I believe it needs to do, okay, it can't depend on the financial support that exists only up until there's a disagreement.
We already confirmed we don't want you to lie. People who cancel their subscriptions because they disagree with an honest opinion. Because your opinion, because of an opinion that they disagree with. And you say that's really dangerous. It's not dangerous, David Pakman. It's life. See, your opinion about another commentator, a news entity, or person, forget all of that. Your opinion about someone that other people admire or respect is not the same thing as you not liking kale. It's not the same thing as you not liking kale, or you preferring string beans to kale. That's different. It's not a difference of opinion only, David Pakman. And I think you're smart enough to know this. I think you're smart enough to know that the way that you disparage Jimmy Dore says something about your ideology. Right? There are people who unsubscribe for all types of reasons. Maybe they were already on the fucking verge of unsubscribing, and then this was the thing that pushed them over the brink. They were sitting back on, that David Pakman says one more tote the line, neocon, neoliberal establishment, line toting freaking Hillary vote blue anywho crap one more time. I'm out of here. Oh, what's that I hear? That's it, I'm gone. You understand? So it's not just that it's one thing. It could have been many things that led up to this. You leave that out. And I understand, maybe you don't think that way. You don't think that there's a cumulative effect of you toting the line that some people just got tired of. But back to your point, sir. It's not dangerous. It's called life. People unsubscribe. Yes, people will unsubscribe to you. Not because you like the color blue and they like the color purple. It's because this is about who you are, what your belief system is, and where you may fall within that. For them, and you may just be a bridge too far, sir. Let's keep going.
Of course, people can choose to support me or not support me for any reason, right? Or any other show for that matter.
They just did. They just did. They just chose not to support you. So why the video? Oh, that's right. Oh, I get it. I get it. I get what it is. I know what it is. You want to help the movement. You think the movement can't survive with people not watching you. Sir, some of us would argue that the movement would be a lot further down the road if there were less people watching you to begin with.
So yeah, cutting it right there. What did I find very ironic about that entire clip? And if you want to go look it up, it's not hard to find. Go search if you want to see the rest of the clip. Just go look up Tim Black, David Pakman, and it'll come up there for you pretty quick. What's the irony in all this? That sounds very, very similar to something. Almost sounds like the defense that Tim Black gave about Jimmy Dore there is the same sort of defense that people are still giving to Jimmy Dore now against Tim Black. Huh. Irony? Coincidence? Maybe. Maybe not. Who knows? We'll get into it a little bit more, but here's the kicker for me here, okay? All the things that you hear Tim Black saying about David Pakman, and he goes on to, throw some serious shots at Pakman about how he's insecure and this and that. A lot of those same things, stuff I've said about David Pakman, right? And yet I'm still a Jimmy Dore supporter. I like Jimmy Dore's program. I think he's just being honest. Even if I don't agree with what he's saying, I think he's at least being honest with what he sees and what he thinks about what's going on. He's not going to warp his opinion to kiss anyone's ass, and neither would I. That's why I like his program. Okay, he's at least being honest. Even if he's wrong about what he's saying, he's going to be honest with you. Same thing Kyle Kalinske. And so I thought Tim Black would be one of those guys. And now, all because Jimmy Dore is just critical of Bernie. Now you heard him say it was perfectly fine to criticize AOC. Okay? It was perfectly fine to criticize Andrew Gillum. Okay? So you've done this in the past. AOC was a big, left-wing darling for a lot of these people. Over in the, I heard TYT praising her, Kyle Kalinske praising her. I've heard Jimmy Dore also praise her. She was getting a lot of praise. Bernie helped campaign with her. She's now come out and endorsed Bernie Sanders, yada, yada, yada. So you were okay with him, when he was critical of AOC. But AOC's endorsed Bernie. You were critical of AOC. But you're not okay with him being so critical of Bernie Sanders. Now, again, I've expressed my opinion. I think that many people are coming from the ideology of, well, Bernie has the best chance of winning, so why are you going to sabotage him? Again, that's if you're going off the concept that no one else has a chance. I'm going to wait till I start seeing votes turn in before I completely rule out the other candidates like Tulsi Gabbard. I'm going to wait till I actually start seeing some votes. Okay? But this attack that Bernie just deserves votes back from people like Tim Black makes him look more and more like a hypocrite, okay? And what I also found interesting was someone commented in one of my, I think it might have been in the most recent video, Nico House actually had a little bit to say about his relationship with Tim Black and how it's changed. Now, do we have any evidence of what Nico is saying? No. Do I have any reason to not believe what he's saying? No. again, from what we've seen with the sudden switch on Jimmy Dore all of a sudden, and then you hear the things Nico House goes on to say in his video, rather informative. And again, I don't know 100% sure that Tim Black is this wolf in sheep's clothing that's, trying to be a chameleon. I would say a chameleon more than a wolf in sheep's clothing. I don't know that he's necessarily, trying to sneak in just to do damage necessarily. I think he's just trying to be a chameleon and fit in with whatever his surroundings are. I think he's starting to see a lot of people blowing back against the Tulsi camp, trying to give us all this crap. You've got Progressive Voice running us down. You've got David Pakman running us down. There's too many people now trying to attack us, and then the whole impeachment thing with Tulsi Gabbard. So I think Tim Black's got his, just like someone else commented in that video, he's got his finger up in the wind. Okay, it's blowing this way. Bye, everyone. Sorry. Nice run. You were fun. Jimmy, love doing tours with you, but here's what I got to say to you now, and I'm going over here with these guys. That seems to be what I'm starting to see here. And, that certainly doesn't help the movement, Johnson. That certainly doesn't help out the progressives trying to get things done, Johnson. That doesn't help make you look like you support your friends and, stand by people who've stood by you. The same issue we have with Bernie Sanders, right? With Jank and all that. Makes you look like you're going to turn your back on anyone at the drop of a hat, too, over a couple of disagreements, Johnson. For anybody not catching why I keep saying Johnson, that's like, I guess, Tim Black's version of saying, bruh or dude or bro or whatever. He always says Johnson at the end of everything. So, yeah, that's not helping anybody out, Tim, and it's making you look a little phony, quite honestly. I don't know you personally, and I have enjoyed a lot more of your content than I ever did David Pakman or, a lot of those other, ass clowns. But the recent actions, man, not sitting well with an old guy like me. Not sitting well with a guy, not sitting well with me at all, actually. And I feel like you're selling out someone who's helped you in many areas, been a good friend to you in many areas, and someone who's just being honest. And he's not going to kiss ass, even if it's for the people who are friends with him and like him. If he's critical of someone, he's just going to come on his show and be honest about it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And for you to act like that's such a bad thing, that the man's just giving his honest opinions, and he's not exactly giving his honest opinion in a racial way. He's not exactly giving his opinions in some sort of a discriminatory way at all. He's just giving his opinion about a politician. And I know some people are going to push back that and say, well, Bernie Sanders isn't like a politician. He kind of is. Just because he doesn't do exactly what the rest of them have done, this man has made literally a career out of politics. Now, you can say he's been a revolutionary in politics. He hasn't played the status quo game most of his career in politics. Sure. But he has made a career out of being a politician, basically. When's the last time he was out in the private sector doing any kind of work? This man has been a politician. It's what he is. Doesn't mean he's like every other politician, but he has been a politician for a long time. So I consider him a politician. He's made a lifetime of it, basically. Okay. So for you to just completely turn on a guy who's been a good friend to you over that, Tim, yeah, not a good look. Not a good look at all. And things like that certainly aren't helping a movement one bit at all, in my opinion. And I really hate to see the attacks that are coming out at Jimmy Dore, because I think Jimmy Dore makes really great content. Love a Jimmy Dore show. Hey, if anybody ever gets out there to Jimmy, come to SC sometime, man. Hey, I get it. We're a red state. It's going to be hard to get some old rednecks to come out. I got a feeling a lot of them might not like Jimmy Dore, because they're old, heavy, red Republican or whatnot. But, hey, there are people like me around here in SC, and I would love to come to a Jimmy Dore show one time and listen to this guy live and stand up. Just saying. I think when I see the videos online that they're great. And so, Jimmy, definitely, if you ever get a chance one day, come on out to Upstate SC. That's one thing I want to clarify on. Someone asked me recently on Twitter, would I be able to bump into Tulsi when she came to SC for Christmas? She came to Myrtle Beach And I live in upstate SC near North Carolina. So yeah, come on up to the upstate if you ever get a chance, Jimmy. I'd love to, love to come to a show out here one day. But that being said, like I said, I really hate to see these attacks on Jimmy. And I think this sort of, Civil War infighting is exactly what the status quo wants to see. It's exactly what mainstream media wants to see. It's not productive for any of us. It's only hurting, everyone involved, the viewers, the country, everyone really. I mean, what a lot of these channels, even ones I disagree with, I think started from the original premise was to be that alternative to the mainstream media. And we made so much progress long before I ever became a channel in that field of trying to provide alternatives. Jimmy Dore's made great progress. Kyle Kalinski's made great progress. But there's a few that have just lost their way. And of course, you've got YouTube out here censoring with algorithms. People are not coming in the way they once did when the golden era for secular talk, for example, during the last election, when he doubled, his channel basically. It doubled in size. Then they said, let's dial that down just a little bit. You're getting too much there, pal. Way too much. We're going to, tweak this around just a little bit. Now it's all censored down. You know what I mean? The monetization. They've really screwed a lot of people over on how they're able to monetize things. Okay? So channels aren't growing like they used to. So we've already got enough of an obstacle in our way of trying to get this message out. Now you add the infighting in. We look, a lot of them, well, these conflicts are starting to come across like a lot of high school teenage drama. And that's not appealing to many, many people. It's not doing anyone any favors, and this needs to come to an end. You're never going to get anything done bickering like little children and stabbing each other in the back and turning on each other. Now, I know that seems like a pretty bad note to end 2019 on. But let's be honest, looking back on it, how many of you would say that 2019 was a great year? What do you say? You think 2019 was a good year? Bad year? Maybe you had a good year. Maybe you had a bad year. Mine was a lot of mix. 2019, I started my channel. Good. 2019, I lost the job. Ended up having to try to take another one with a pay cut. A lot of stuff went on in my world in 2019, and it hasn't all been good. Okay, so lots really, messed me up in 2019. I think politically, 2019 has been nothing but chaos, nothing but absolute disaster. And so I think there's really just one way that we can end 2019, Johnson. That is with some Jack. Here it is. To the end of 2019. Because it has been one hell of a year. And last one. Here's to 2020. May we see some unexpected events occur. May we see some great change. Hopefully the country will do better, and hopefully maybe some of this infighting will calm down just a little bit. I'm not exactly expecting it, but I'm hoping for it. So here's to 2020. Now, for those of you who waited around this long into the video, I want to first of all say, for anyone who has noticed the shirt that I have worn proudly on display through the course of this video, this was actually a lovely Christmas present that I got, especially for my channel. My wife got me this and said that she thought it would be a good shirt to wear when I'm making my videos on the channel. And I think it has a really important message on it. I think it's something that we definitely could all remember going into the new year, and so I decided that I wanted to break it out and wear it for this video. That being said, 2 shots later, a whole video later, we're closing down 2019, we're entering 2020, and I have to go attend the party that I will be hosting at my house in, probably only about a matter of about 30 more minutes. We're going to have folks rolling in, and booze will be flowing, and we will be closing out 2019 with a bang. So all of you stay safe, enjoy yourselves, and I hope you have a good time tonight, and I hope you'll tune into my videos after we enter into 2020. God bless all of you, and I love each and every one of you.